everyone. Today we are going to be discussing belief structures. So where do they come from? What are they? And what do we do with them, right? Because, beliefs are kind of very commonly talked about that we have to change our beliefs all the time, and we have to always be paying attention to our beliefs, which a lot of that awareness is super important when it comes to beliefs. And we do need to understand what it is that we really do believe. So when we get stuck in beliefs, sometimes they don't hold us back, but sometimes we just need to open our eyes to a different way of looking at things, right? So I'm not here to tell you that what you believe is wrong. No one really should tell you what you believe is wrong, but is your belief working for you? Does your belief help you and aid you in your life? Does it make you feel better? Does it make you happy? If a belief does not do this for you, then that's when you should really start to question it and understand where it comes from, and also how to, maybe how to shift that a little bit. So it's not an overwhelming process. You don't have to stress about it. It's just something to pay attention to. So first, I'd like to talk about kind of where beliefs come from, right? So where do our beliefs even come? Because a lot of times we spend most of our lives with beliefs that we don't even really understand where we got them, right? So we believe something about ourselves, but like in our conscious mind, we know that maybe that's really not the case, but there's something deep inside of us that's telling us, I guess this is real. And it is not that it's not real. It's just that if it's not serving you, you don't have to hold on to it. You can shift and allow things to shift through you. And that's kind of what the healing process is like. You learn mostly through the healing process is learning how to shift states of consciousness. So when you're shifting your beliefs about yourself or about situations, specifically about our traumas, right? Because traumas are kind of where our beliefs come from. So when we have beliefs, when we have traumas, we build beliefs based on those experiences. So we have over here, we have this experience A, and experience A was devastating to us. It taught us that we can't trust people. It taught us that we can't move forward because we aren't enough and we don't belong, and whatever experience A is, right? Well, then later in life, you have experience B, and experience B is similar to experience A in some respects, not completely 100% the same, right? So you have two sort of different experiences, but you're using the belief structures that you created from situation A, and you're transferring it and you're applying it to situation B and experience B. But the issue with that is that there is infinite amount of infinite amount of outcomes, right? So just because we experienced a specific outcome in experience A does not mean that experience B is going to have the exact same outcome, because it's not exactly the same situation. You have changed, you've grown. There are certain things you've learned from experience A that you're now putting into experience B. So you can't actually use experience A and the beliefs that you've created around that experience to help you with experience B, because experience B is very different. You're different. You're probably older. You have more experience in certain areas. You have a better understanding of what life's about. So it gets complicated because we're still trying to use beliefs that we created for a certain situation A, which was whatever was very traumatizing to us. And now we apply it throughout our life, right? But you're using the past to to apply to a current situation. So it's not even relevant. It's not that the belief is incorrect or anything. It's just not relevant to what's happening now, because what's happening now is experience B. So experience B is telling you that this is the outcome, and there are other outcomes that can come from that same situation. So you can have, maybe something wonderful comes out of situation B. Before, in situation A, you would have thought, oh my gosh, my whole life is over and I'm never going to recover. But in situation B, which is similar but not the same, you can have a totally different belief structure about it because it's completely different than experience A. So do you see where I'm going with, like, you're using previous experiences to gauge and judge your present experience, right? So that it's not that they aren't related, because that's also how we learn, but you can't rely solely on those belief structures, because it's an outdated state of consciousness. So when we are applying an outdated state of consciousness to a current situation, yeah, that's going to be difficult for us, right? It's not going to help us move through it because we're going to stay stuck in what we believe. So we have to kind of allow some of that to shift out of us. We have to be open, and really it's just opening up to different outcomes. So you can open up your mind to, if you can open up your mind a little bit and open up your heart and say, well, this happened to me in the past, but that doesn't mean that I can't move forward in a different way, right? It's an opportunity for you to move forward in a different way and to shift your belief, because that's what shifts the belief. It's not, yes, you have to identify it, but it's not really about, writing your beliefs out 50 times and telling yourself all the time, well, I believe this, and this. It's like, no, you don't need to spend all of that time. Like, when you realize what belief you're holding from situation A that you're trying to apply to situation B that doesn't help you, the recognition of that is then your awareness to choose differently, to pay attention to, hey, situation A is long gone, right? And even though you might have to move through some of the emotions that come up with that, because it's still probably held within your body. But when you look at that and you shift your beliefs by how you shift your current situation. So if you choose something a little bit different, you're not going to stay stuck in the same belief systems, and you're proving to yourself that, in fact, your new belief gives you proof that it works, because you chose to act on it, and that action is what creates the new evidence that your new belief is correct, right? So you have to, that's how we shift, right? We can't just stay stuck in over here. You have to try new things, because then that reminds you that you already know that you can shift your beliefs easily. So, because it's proving to you that other beliefs are also valid. Because that's the hard part. We get so stuck in what we believe over here that we don't even think that anything else exists outside of over here. And that, unfortunately, is that's what holds us back sometimes. And it's not that we're doing it on purpose or anything like that. It's just part of life. Sometimes we forget that we are infinite, right? So if we are infinite beings who are connected to source, whatever you want to call that. So when we are connected to ourselves, we're connecting to that higher source. So that is where your beliefs can start to shift, because you can open back up to yourself, right? You open back up to that love and that infiniteness, because if you're infinite, your beliefs, the belief structures are also infinite, right? So it might seem a little crazy, like, well, just because I believe something doesn't make it true. Well, it kind of does. I mean, how many different people believe so many different things? I mean, look at our entire society. I mean, I'm from the US, so we have a very diverse population, which honestly I love, because it's great to see how different people interact with life, and I've learned a lot from other people. But sorry, I derailed for a second. But the point here is that with all of this diversity, like, clearly there's so many different belief structures out there. Just because and what one person thinks is true, someone else can think is completely insane, right? Like, one person, could say, I love, I think the sky is blue, and somebody else looks at the sky and is like, no, it's blue, it's purple today. Like, I don't know what you're on. Like, it's just your belief structures are infinite, but we limit ourselves because we don't understand, and we don't remember who we are, right? We don't remember the consciousness that is us, that is infinite. So beliefs are just thought forms. They're just programming consciousness. It is not something that is permanent to you. You can shift your beliefs very easily. And it's really all about recognizing that you do hold a belief. Once you recognize what that is, that takes a little bit of time to dig through. So you have to be able to question yourself, question what you believe, question why you believe it. And sometimes we figure out where it comes from, and sometimes we don't. But the point is that if you can recognize it, that's the important part. So you need to recognize it first. Second, then you need to do something that is in the opposite direction of what it was that you were believing previously, right? So if you believe that that you can't do a certain thing, that's an easy example. Go out and try to do something that you think that you can't do. Because I guarantee, if just little baby steps, you don't have to do anything crazy, but like little baby steps, try recognizing what it is that you think you can't do, and then go and prove it to yourself that you can do it, right? So you've got to take that step. That's how you shift your belief. You have to prove to yourself in order to create a new belief structure. So you have to prove it to yourself that is correct, that your new belief is valid, right? Because otherwise you're never going to believe it. You're just going to be like, well, yeah, I can believe that, like, oh, I'm great and I'm a good person. Well, if you don't prove that to yourself, you're never going to really believe it. You're not going to believe it in here. You're going to say it out loud or say it to yourself 50 times. And don't get me wrong, I think affirmations are fantastic. They can be a great way to help you stay positive about yourself. But at the same time, I don't think that they're necessary. That's not the only way to shift how you're experiencing something. Do something to prove to yourself that there's a different outcome, that there's a different option. Do something different. Push yourself, because it's the only way you're going to prove to yourself that it is okay. So I do have an exercise for you at the end of this section, and it does help you try to identify what limiting beliefs you have. So if you go through that exercise, it will help you at least come to, and you can do it for all kinds of different things. You can repeat it, because we all have different belief structures, right? And we probably all have a lot of them that maybe aren't really serving us. So you identify which ones you believe are maybe not serving you, maybe not quite helpful for you. the ones that you question, those ones, that's what you should do the exercise on. So go through and identify, go through and try to identify what your beliefs about your specific situation that you're trying to heal, or if you're just really just trying to just work on personal development, you don't have a specific issue, just go through and try to figure that out with the exercise. And it actually does help. I really do encourage to do the exercise. I'm not putting fluff work in there. The exercises that I have put in here work because I have done them. I have clients who have done them. They're short. They're not 50-page essays. I just want you to take some time to really look at yourself and really look at where those beliefs are coming from. And then once you identify what those beliefs are, that's how then we can move on from there. So in our next section, we're going to talk about consciousness and what that is. I know I mentioned that a couple of times in this current video, but I really want to help you identify what consciousness is because it is related to belief structure. So we're going to tie those two in together. And so yeah, I'm going to wrap this up, but I will see you in the next section and we'll be talking more about consciousness.